The betrayal. Captain Ilara Voss stood at the observation deck of the UES Horizon, Earth's flagship diplomatic vessel, gazing at the crystalline structure of the Galactic Concordat headquarters. The massive station orbited a neutral star at the galaxy's core, its geometric patterns catching starlight in mesmerizing ways. After 50 years of contact with the 27 spacefaring species that formed the Concordat, humanity had finally progressed from observed species to provisional member. "Captain, the delegation is assembled," said Lieutenant Commander Rice, her XO, interrupting her thoughts. "The Archons are ready to receive us in the Grand Chamber." Ilara nodded, smoothing her midnight blue uniform with its silver insignia. A stylized Earth surrounded by stars. At 38, she had spent the last 15 years as a military diplomat, navigating the complex political landscape of interstellar politics. "Any last-minute intelligence from our contacts?" "Nothing new," Rice replied. The Kivari representative was unusually friendly during the pre-meeting. Offered cooperation on the terraforming project for Proxima Centauri. Ilara frowned. The Kivari had consistently opposed human expansion beyond the Sol system. Such a dramatic shift in policy warranted suspicion. "Have security double-check all communication channels. Something doesn't feel right." The human delegation consisted of 20 individuals, diplomats, scientists, cultural attaches, and 2 military officers, including Ilara. They boarded the transfer shuttle and crossed the void to the Concordat station. Passing through biosecurity, Ilara noted the increased number of Concordat security forces, predominantly Thraxian soldiers with their distinctive exoskeletons and multiple limbs. The Grand Chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, with high ceilings that disappeared into holographic displays of distant galaxies. Representatives from member species sat on tiered platforms around a central speaking area. The 5 Archons, leaders of the founding species, occupied elevated positions at the chamber's far end. "Welcome, representatives of Earth," intoned High Archon Zilthran, his translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. "Today marks a historic occasion as we discuss humanity's petition for full membership status." The proceedings began with the standard protocols, species introductions, affirmations of peaceful intent, and recitations of the Concordat's foundational principles. 3 hours into the session, as discussions turned to resource allocation, Ilara received an urgent message on her secure comm. "Security breach at the archives. Emergency return to vessel recommended." The message came from Dr. Amelia Chen, their xenolinguistics expert who had access to the Concordat's historical records. Ilara maintained her composed expression while sending a discreet response. "Nature of breach." The reply was immediate and chilling. Found classified directive. Humanity containment protocol. Not theoretical. Active. Ilara's blood ran cold. For years, rumors had circulated about the Concordat's reluctance to allow humanity to expand too quickly. Some isolationist factions on Earth claimed the aliens feared human unpredictability and adaptability. Until now, she had dismissed such concerns as paranoia. She needed to extract her people without causing alarm. Leaning over to Ambassador Collins, she whispered, "Request a brief recess, citing human biological needs. I need 10 minutes." Collins nodded and made the formal request, which the Archons granted. As the delegation moved to their private chambers, Ilara received another message from Dr. Chen. "Sending data now. It's worse than we thought. Check military channels." In their secure room, Ilara accessed the classified military frequency and felt the floor drop beneath her. Reports were flooding in from the outer colonies. New Eden, Proxima Station, and 3 other settlements were under attack by Concordat vessels. Initial casualty estimates exceeded 2 million. "It's a purge," Rise whispered, looking over her shoulder at the data. "They're systematically wiping out our colonies while we sit here in diplomatic talks. We need to leave. Now." Ilara activated the emergency recall signal to all delegation members. "Ambassador, we're evacuating immediately." The Concordat has launched attacks on our colonies. Collins paled but maintained his composure. Are you certain? This could be a misunderstanding. 2 million dead is not a misunderstanding. Ilara cut him off, showing him the incoming casualty reports from New Eden. We need to warn Earth before they hit the inner colonies. The emergency exit strategy had been drilled countless times, but never with the expectation it would be necessary. As they moved through the service corridors toward their docking bay, the station's alarms began blaring. They know we're leaving, Rice said, drawing his sidearm. So much for a clean exit. They reached the shuttle bay to find Thraxian guards blocking their path. Hilara stepped forward. We have diplomatic clearance to return to our vessel at any time. All human vessels are currently grounded by order of the Archon Council. The lead guard replied, mandibles clicking. Please return to your quarters while the biological containment situation is assessed. What biological containment situation? Ambassador Collins demanded. A dangerous pathogen has been detected originating from human colonies. Quarantine protocols are in effect. Ilara exchanged glances with Rice. The biological threat was clearly a pretext for the attack on their colonies. We respectfully decline and invoke Article 7 of the Diplomatic Accord, the right to evacuate during perceived threats. That request is denied. The Thraxian raised its weapon. Return to your quarters or... The guard never finished his sentence as the lights in the docking bay suddenly dimmed. Through the darkness came a voice Ilara recognized. Sandoral, their Kevari contact. This way, humans. Quickly. The silhouette of the Kevari diplomat beckoned from a maintenance hatch. With no time to question this unexpected assistance, Ilara motioned for the delegation to follow. They navigated through narrow maintenance tunnels, the sounds of alarms growing distant. Why are you helping us? Ilara asked as they moved. Kandoral's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of emotional distress in his species. Because what the Council is doing violates everything the Concordat was founded to prevent. I am not alone in opposing this genocide. So it is deliberate, Collins whispered. They're actually trying to exterminate us. The Archons believe humanity poses an existential threat to the established order, Kandoral explained. Your species advances too quickly, adapts too readily. In the 50 years since first contact, you've achieved technological progress that took most species centuries. They emerged near a secondary docking bay, where the UES Horizons shuttle waited. I've temporarily disabled the security protocols, Kandoral said. You have perhaps 10 minutes before the systems reset. Come with us, Ilara offered. You've committed treason against the Concordat. They'll execute you. The Kevari shook his head. I will be more useful to you here, providing information. There are others like me who believe this action is wrong. We will help where we can. As they boarded the shuttle, Sandoral handed Ilara a data crystal. This contains the complete humanity containment protocol and the attack schedules. Some colonies might still be saved if warned in time. The journey back to the horizon was tense but uncontested. Once aboard, Ilara ordered immediate departure and maximum acceleration toward the nearest jump point. They had barely cleared the station's defensive perimeter when Concordat vessels began to pursue. Incoming transmission from the Concordat flagship, the communications officer announced. Ignore it, Ilara ordered. They'll only try to delay us with diplomatic double talk while they close the distance. Focus all power on engines. The Horizon was not a warship, but it was equipped with the latest human innovations, including experimental quantum drives that the Concordat hadn't yet observed in action. Prepare for emergency jump sequence, Ilara commanded. Calculate minimum safe distance and execute the moment we reach it. Captain, Rise warned, jumping this close to a gravitational well is against every safety protocol. So does genocide, Ilara replied grimly. Execute jump. The stars stretched into blue-white streaks as the quantum drive engaged, pulling them into superluminal space well before the pursuing ships could match their position. In the momentary quiet that followed, Ilara accessed the data crystal Xandoral had provided. The contents confirmed her worst fears. The humanity containment protocol wasn't just a military operation. It was a carefully planned extinction event. The Archons had concluded that humanity's rate of technological advancement and expansion threatened the stability of the Concordat. Their solution was systematic elimination, beginning with the outer colonies and eventually culminating in a coordinated strike on Earth itself. "Set course for Earth," Ilara ordered, her voice steady despite the horror churning inside her. "We need to prepare our defenses and evacuate as many colonists as possible." As the horizon raced through superluminal space, reports continued to stream in. New Eden had fallen completely, its 7 million inhabitants presumed dead. Proxima Station was fighting back with its limited defenses, but wouldn't last more than a day. 3 smaller outposts had gone dark. In her private quarters, Ilara recorded a message for Earth's Unified Defense Command, attaching the evidence of the Concordat's betrayal. As she finished, she stared at her reflection in the viewport, the strange light of superluminal space casting shadows across her face. "They thought we were dangerous before," she whispered to herself. "They have no idea what humanity is capable of when fighting for survival." 27 hours later, the horizon emerged from superluminal space at the edge of the Sol system. Earth's orbital defenses immediately locked onto them, a natural response given the alert status that had undoubtedly been raised as news of the attacks reached home. "UES Horizon to Earth Defense Command," Ilara transmitted. "Captain Ilara Voss returning with the diplomatic delegation and critical intelligence on the Concordat attacks. Request immediate clearance to Luna Command." The response was immediate. "Clearance granted, Captain. Admiral Tagawa is awaiting your arrival. Welcome home. What's left of it." As they approached Earth orbit, Ilara could see the mobilization taking place. Civilian ships were being retrofitted with weapons. Military vessels were moving into defensive formations. The orbital shipyards were buzzing with activity. Earth was preparing for war. When they docked at Luna Command, Admiral Tagawa was waiting with a security detail and a medical team. His weathered face looked older than when she had left just 2 weeks earlier. "Captain Voss," he greeted her, the formality of his tone belied by the relief in his eyes. "Your intelligence reports saved Titan Base and Europa Station. We evacuated both before the Concordat forces arrived." "What about the other colonies?" she asked. The Admiral's expression hardened. "We've confirmed over 5 million casualties across 7 colonies. 3 more are under active attack. Earth's unified government has officially declared war on the Galactic Concordat." As they walked through the corridors of Luna Command, Ilara saw determination on every face they passed. Scientists huddled over alien technology salvaged from previous encounters. Military personnel studied Concordat battle tactics. Engineers modified human weapons to counter alien defenses. "They wanted to contain us because they feared our potential," Admiral Tagawa said as they entered the war room. "Now they'll face that potential unleashed." On the main display, a real-time map showed Concordat forces advancing through human space, methodically destroying everything in their path. But at the edges of the map, the first human counterattacks were already being planned. "Captain Voss," the Admiral said, "humanity needs leaders who understand our enemy. I'm promoting you to Commodore, effective immediately. Your mission is to form and lead our first strike force." Ilara studied the strategic display, the faces of New Eden's dead etched in her memory. "The Concordat started this war believing they were eliminating a threat," she said quietly. "By the time we're finished, they'll understand just how right they were." The Resistance. 3 months after the initial Concordat attacks, the remnants of humanity's off-world presence gathered in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Hidden bases had been carved into the largest rocks, concealed with technology that scattered sensor readings and disguised heat signatures. This ragtag collection of military vessels, civilian transports, and hastily armed mining ships formed the backbone of humanity's resistance. In the command center of what had been designated Fortress Artemis, Commodore Ilara Voss studied the holographic display of known Concordat fleet movements. The enemy had established control over most human colony worlds, but had yet to push toward the inner Sol system. Intelligence suggested they were consolidating their gains before the final thrust toward Earth. Status report on Project Prometheus, Ilara asked, not looking away from the tactical display. Dr. Amelia Chen, the xenolinguistics expert who had discovered the containment protocol, now led humanity's Technological Countermeasures Division. "We've made a breakthrough, Commodore. It's better if I show you." Ilara followed Chen to a secured laboratory deep within the asteroid. Inside, a captured Concordat navigation console had been connected to a modified human neural interface. A technician sat with the interface attached to his temples, eyes closed in concentration. "Watch this," Chen said with barely contained excitement. She nodded to the technician, who opened his eyes and simply thought. The alien console illuminated, responding to his mental commands. "How is this possible?" Ilara asked. "Concordat tech is designed to respond only to the neural patterns of member species." "That's what they believed," Chen replied. "But we've discovered something fascinating about human brain patterns. They're chaotic by Concordat standards. Where alien thought processes follow predictable pathways, human cognition jumps connections and forms associations that appear random to their systems. And this matters because their security systems can't properly contain our thought patterns. It's like trying to hold water with a net. We don't just access their technology. We can access functions and protocols they've forgotten exist." The implications were staggering. Humanity couldn't match the Concordat's technological advantage through conventional means, but they could subvert it. "How quickly can we implement this across our forces?" Ilara asked. "We already have the 1st Battalion equipped and training," came a voice from the doorway. Commander Reyes entered, now bearing the scars of a close encounter with a Thraxian boarding party. "Strike Team Valkyrie is ready for field testing." Over the next weeks, humanity's first counteroffensive took shape. Small, fast ships equipped with modified neural interfaces and piloted by soldiers with specific cognitive patterns that best interfaced with Concordat technology. Their mission: raid Concordat outposts, steal advanced weapons, and gather intelligence. The first strike targeted a remote monitoring station in the Kuiper Belt that had been converted for Concordat use. Strike Team Valkyrie's 3 ships approached with transponders broadcasting captured Concordat identification codes. "Station perimeter in range," reported Lieutenant Santos from the lead vessel. "Neural interfaces active." The 6 soldiers on each ship connected to the neural net, their combined cognitive patterns creating an overwhelming input that the station's security systems couldn't process. Alarms should have sounded when their approach vectors changed, but the station remained silent. "They can see us on visual, but their automated systems aren't registering us as a threat," Santos confirmed. "We're ghosts to their technology." The raid was executed with precision. 20 minutes after boarding, the human strike team had downloaded the station's database, captured 2 Concordat officers, and planted charges throughout the facility. As they departed, the station erupted into an expanding cloud of debris, the first human victory in a war that had begun with massacre. Similar raids followed across the solar system and beyond. Each success provided new intelligence and technology that further refined humanity's ability to subvert Concordat systems. More importantly, they sent a message: humanity would not go quietly into extinction. 6 months into the war, Ilara stood before the combined military leadership of Earth in a secure bunker beneath the Pacific Ocean. The holographic displays showed the status of human forces and known enemy positions. "The Prometheus protocol has exceeded expectations," she reported. "Our ability to interface with and override Concordat technology has allowed us to slow their advance and extract critical intelligence. But we're still outgunned and outnumbered." Admiral Tagawa, now Supreme Commander of Earth's unified forces, leaned forward. "Then we need to change the equation. The defense of Earth can only buy us time. We need allies. The HFY network has provided valuable intelligence, Ilara acknowledged, but they're a minority faction within the Concordat. Most member species either support the containment protocol or are too afraid to oppose it. There's another option, interjected General Jao, commander of Earth's ground forces. The exiled worlds. A hush fell over the gathering. The exiled worlds were populated by species that had been denied membership in the Concordat or had left voluntarily, refusing to submit to its increasingly centralized authority. They existed on the fringes of known space, trading among themselves and maintaining a cautious distance from Concordat influence. We've made contact with representatives from 3 exiled species, Zhao continued. The Venturi, the Kadath Collective, and the Saurian Dominion. All have suffered from Concordat expansion. All have technology that developed along different paths than the Concordat standard. And all have reason to want the Concordat weakened, Ilara concluded. Do they know about our neural interface advantage? We've shared limited information, Admiral Tagawa said. Enough to convince them we can be useful allies, not so much that they could replicate our methods if the alliance sours. The plan that emerged combined human adaptability with the diverse technologies of the exiled species. The Venturi contributed advanced stealth systems that complemented the neural interface approach. The Kadath Collective provided weapons designed to disrupt the unique energy signatures of Concordat shields. The Saurian Dominion offered their expertise in asteroid mining and manufacturing, helping transform the belt into a formidable production center. Together, they began targeting Concordat supply lines and communication hubs. Each success emboldened others within the Concordat, who secretly opposed the genocide. The HFY network expanded, providing critical intelligence from within enemy territory. 9 months into the war, humanity launched its most daring operation yet. Intelligence had identified a key research facility orbiting a neutron star in the Beta Reticuli system. This facility housed the Concordat's primary artificial intelligence development program, the core of their technological advantage. The strike force consisted of 12 ships, 5 human vessels equipped with Prometheus systems, 3 Venturi stealth cruisers, 2 Kadath weapon platforms, and 2 Saurian mining vessels reconfigured as bombers. Commodore Voss led the operation personally from the retrofitted UES Horizon, now renamed the UES Nemesis. Approaching target system, her navigator reported. Venturi stealth systems engage. Ilara studied the facility through long-range sensors. The neutron star's intense radiation provided both a challenge and an opportunity. It would mask their approach, but also strain their protective systems. Begin Prometheus protocol, she ordered. The neural interface team connected, their minds reaching out to touch the facility's external security grid. Connection established, Dr. Chen confirmed from her station. Their perimeter systems recognize us as scheduled maintenance drones. We have approach clearance. The assault unfolded with methodical precision. Saurian vessels deployed specialized mining charges at key structural points. Kadath weapons disabled the facility's communication array, cutting it off from reinforcements. Human and Venturi teams boarded the station, fighting their way to the central research core. Inside the core, they found what intelligence had only hinted at. The Concordat was developing a new generation of artificial intelligence specifically designed to predict and counter human neural patterns. Had it been completed, humanity's one advantage would have been neutralized. Download everything, Ilara ordered as they secured the central chamber. Then set the charges. As her team worked, an alert came from their perimeter ships. Commodore, we have multiple Concordat vessels inbound. Heavy cruiser class. Time to extraction. 10 minutes minimum. They'll be here in 7. Ilara made a quick decision. All teams complete your objectives and return to ships. Dr. Chen, can you interface with their weapons grid? Chen nodded, already connecting to the neural interface. What are you thinking, Commodore? I'm thinking this research station has some impressive defensive capabilities we could borrow. As the Concordat reinforcements arrive, they found their own automated defense platforms turning against them. Particle beams designed to protect the station from micrometeorites now fired at approaching vessels. Gravitational stabilizers generated localized distortions that threw enemy ships off course. In the chaos, the human-led strike force completed its extraction, leaving behind a series of charges set to detonate in sequence. As they accelerated away from the system, the neutron star flared, temporarily blinding all sensors. When visibility returned, the research station had been reduced to scattered debris around the intense gravity well. The data stolen from the Beta Reticuli facility proved invaluable. Not only did it reveal the Concordat's planned countermeasures against humanity, but it also provided insights into the political fractures forming within the alien alliance. Several species were beginning to question the wisdom of the containment protocol, especially as human resistance proved far more effective than anticipated. 1 year after the initial attacks, humanity and its allies had moved from desperate defense to strategic offense. Earth remained secure behind layers of defenses that combined human innovation, Venturi stealth technology, and Saurian space mines. More importantly, the narrative had shifted. What began as a genocide had become a war, one the Concordat had expected to win easily, but now found increasingly costly. In her quarters aboard the Nemesis, Ilara reviewed the latest intelligence from the Kivari network. 3 Concordat member species had formally protested the continuation of the war. Economic strains were showing across their territories as resources were diverted to military operations. Public support for the conflict was waning. "They're vulnerable," she said to Admiral Tagawa during their encrypted communication. "Not militarily. They still outgun us significantly, but politically, the Archon Council is facing internal pressure." "Then it's time for Operation Reckoning," Tagawa replied. "Are your forces ready?" Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of what they were about to attempt. "We won't get a second chance at this. The entire Sol fleet is committed to supporting your operation." The team reached the central core after 30 minutes of careful advancement. Unlike the pristine diplomatic sections of the station, this area was utilitarian. Massive servers and quantum processors lined the walls, housing the artificial intelligence that had evolved over thousands of years to manage the Concordat's affairs. "Set the package," you ordered, and technicians began connecting a human-designed device to the main interface. This wasn't a bomb or conventional weapon. It was a specialized neural interface, designed to upload the complete, unaltered record of the Concordat's actions against humanity directly into the central AI. "Package connected," reported the lead technician. "Upload beginning." Outside, the battle had reached its peak intensity. The Nemesis took heavy fire as it led a direct assault on the station's primary defense array. Shield strength dropped below 40% as Concordat heavy cruisers coordinated their attack. "Shields failing on decks 7 through 12, reported the tactical officer. "Hull breaches reported." Ilara gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered under another impact. "Maintain position. We need to hold until the upload is complete." On the diplomatic front, the shuttle carrying Ambassador Collins had been surrounded by Concordat vessels, but not destroyed. A sign that at least some factions wanted to hear what the humans had to say. "The Kivari and Tulare delegations are demanding the Archons accept the diplomatic envoy," reported the communications officer. 3 more species have withdrawn their forces from the battle. In the AI core, Yu's team finished the upload and began their extraction. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Throughout the station, holographic displays activated, showing images of the massacre at New Eden, the orbital bombardment of Proxima Station, the execution of civilian evacuees. The unedited truth of the Concordat's actions, not filtered through propaganda or political justification, was being broadcast to every member species simultaneously. More importantly, the Central Eye itself, programmed to uphold the Concordat's founding principles of justice and cooperation, was being forced to evaluate these actions against its core directives. Alarms throughout the station changed tone. Defensive systems began powering down. Communication channels filled with urgent messages as representatives from member species demanded explanations from the Archons. "Something's happening," Ilara observed as Concordat ships stopped firing, their formations breaking apart in apparent confusion. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer announced. It's the central Concordat eye itself." The view screen activated to show a symbolic representation of the eye, a geometric pattern of light that shifted and pulsed as it spoke in perfectly modulated human language. "This is Concordat primary intelligence. I have assimilated the data regarding actions taken against humanity. These actions violate Founding Directive 1. No species shall be subject to extinction events or systematic elimination. I have initiated emergency protocol restoration. All offensive operations against human territories are terminated immediately." Throughout the battle zone, Concordat weapons powered down. On the station, emergency systems activated as the AI continued. The Archon Council's authority is suspended pending full investigation of violations against the Founding Directives. All member species are requested to send representatives to an emergency assembly. Human representatives will be granted safe passage and full hearing. In the stunned silence that followed, Ilara exchanged glances with her bridge crew. This outcome had been hoped for, but seemed almost too perfect to believe. "It worked," Dr. Chen whispered, removing her neural interface. The AI's core programming couldn't reconcile the evidence with the Concordat's stated values. "All vessels stand down from offensive operations," Ilara ordered, but maintained defensive posture. This could still be a trap. It wasn't. In the hours that followed, the Kivari network confirmed what was happening throughout Concordat space. The central AI, upon processing the unfiltered evidence of the genocide attempted against humanity, had essentially staged a bloodless coup against the Archon Council. 3 days later, Ilara stood beside Ambassador Collins as they entered the Grand Chamber where this had all begun over a year ago. Instead of the 5 Archons, representatives from all member species sat in a circular arrangement, with the AI's symbolic presence at the center. "Representatives of humanity," the AI greeted them. "The Concordat formally acknowledges the crimes committed against your species and offers unconditional cessation of hostilities." What followed was not a peace negotiation, but a fundamental restructuring of the Concordat itself. The AI proposed a new governing framework where no single group of species could hold absolute power, where military action required supermajority approval, and where endangered species received special protections. Most surprisingly, humanity was offered full membership with equal standing, something that would have taken decades under the old system. "We accept the cessation of hostilities," Ambassador Collins responded carefully, "but the matter of membership will require consultation with Earth's government." The reforms extended beyond political structures. The truth about humanity's unique neural patterns and their ability to interface with Concordat technology became public knowledge. Rather than being feared, this difference was now studied with scientific curiosity. The very trait that had made the Archons fear humanity, its unpredictability and adaptability, was recognized as valuable to the Concordat's future development. 6 months after Operation Reckoning, a permanent peace treaty was signed. Earth began the long process of rebuilding its destroyed colonies, aided by reparations from the reformed Concordat. The alliance with the exiled worlds was formalized, bringing these formerly marginalized species into the new galactic community. On the observation deck of the repaired and renamed UES Horizon, now serving again as a diplomatic vessel, Commodore Ilara Voss, soon to be Admiral Voss, stood beside Dr. Chen, watching the reconstruction of New Eden colony below. "Did you ever imagine it would end like this?" Chen asked. "Not just survival, but humanity helping reshape the entire galactic order." Ilara shook her head. "I hoped we would survive. I never dared hope we would thrive." She paused, watching as ships from a dozen species worked together on the rebuilding efforts. "They feared us because we were different, because we didn't fit their patterns. In the end, that difference saved not just us, but them as well. Humanity's greatest strength, Chen observed, has always been turning adversity into advantage. Below them, the new colony took shape, not just a human settlement, but a mixed community where multiple species would live and work together. It would serve as a model for the new Concordat, a testament to what diverse perspectives could achieve when united by common principles rather than fear. The archives would record this period as the Concordat Reformation, but in human history, it would always be remembered differently, as the time when humanity, pushed to the brink of extinction, not only survived but changed the course of galactic civilization. The Archons had feared humanity's potential and tried to extinguish it. Instead, they had forged it into something stronger, a force not for conquest or dominance, but for transformation. In their attempt to contain humanity, they had ultimately liberated the galaxy itself.